let's call the Board of Commissioners meeting to order at 10:02. All those who are able, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we've got a busy agenda today. Do we have any public here for comment? That would include anybody under the age of 18 if they want to say anything. Thanks for coming, young man. Any additions to the agenda from the commissioners? No? All right. Moving on to the meeting minutes. If they're fine, we'll take a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve the minutes from the meeting held April 22nd.
Second.
We have a motion, a second to approve the minutes for the meeting held on April 22nd. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Moving on to our proclamations. We have proclamation number 21 of 2025 proclaiming May as Mental Health Awareness Month in Center County. And we have Marissa from Jana Marie Foundation here to give us some background and details. Come on up to the microphone. Gets better video that way
You
too.
always bring props.
I do.
Well, she's smart, Steve. It's about
have
the
some prompts.
visual interest.
There you go.
So, well, thank you so much for having me
Yeah.
again this year. May is Mental Health Month, and it's an important month to just recognize that we're all on the spectrum for our mental health, and at times we all need to find that courage and vulnerability in reaching out for help. And there's nothing wrong with saying that we need a little help on our journey, and there's nothing wrong with reaching out to help support someone else as well. And so we have a lot of different events that are going on throughout the month. Not just the Jana Marie Foundation, but many nonprofits work together.
Yes.
And organizations and agencies work together during this month to help create that awareness. So the events actually kick off on Thursday evening, where Opportunity Clubhouse and Skills host an event
yes.
at Wasson Farm.
I'll be there. I think there's ice cream.
There is ice cream,
Yes.
but free ice cream too.
Oh, that's the best kind of ice cream.
Right? So you can't
Right,
go
young man?
wrong.
Free ice cream is the best ice cream? There we go.
And so, yeah, so the events kick off that evening and then go throughout the month. On May 17th, a Saturday, Jana Marie Foundation will be hosting Jam Fest in downtown State College again
Oh,
from
nice.
12 p.m. till 5 p.m. It's a free event that is very family friendly, all about using art and music and creative expression to help raise awareness for mental health. And so we have amazing artists lined up. We'll have the stage up from 12 to 5 with music playing, and then over 25 engagement stations where families can come down. There's like a bead bar, so bracelet making
All right.
or necklace making. There's kazoo making. There's all sorts of different activities, planting flowers that will happen throughout the day.
And will that be at like MLK Plaza?
Yes,
Okay.
MLK Plaza and
All right.
Fraser Street. So
right.
from the parking garage down to College Avenue.
Okay, wonderful.
We'll have those different stations. And then on May 19th, there's a benefit for Jana Marie Foundation. It's a comedy show at Axman Brewery, so that
Oh,
should be a lot of
wow.
fun, 21 and over. And Tommy Lametta is putting that on
All right.
with a lot of fabulous friends of his. So, and Free Range will be there, and Eric Ian Farmer to
Oh,
play
yeah.
music, and an amazing meal sponsored by Cisco. So those are just two of the events that are going on. We also will have artwork in storefront windows in downtown State College, so it'll be hung starting tomorrow, but this year is snails, so symbolizing grow at your own pace. And so these are just two examples, but we partner with local artists to help to create the different snails, and then they'll be in windows with some education along with QR code to the different resources that are available for mental health. So, yeah.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Slow and
Yeah.
steady wins the race.
Well, let me catch up here. So the
let's do it.
Jana Marie fundraiser,
Yes.
you said is May 19th?
Yes.
Now, that's a Monday.
Monday, May 19th.
Okay.
The doors open at 6 p.m.
All right.
And it will wrap up before 9 o'clock. So
Okay.
you can still get to bed and work on time the next morning.
All right. And that's at Axman?
Axman Brewery, right down the street.
It sounds like the food is donated, which always
Yes.
helps.
It does,
Yes.
absolutely. So,
Well, I noticed you brought some visuals.
yes, our snails. So these will be hung in the
Yes.
storefront windows in downtown State College. We partner with local artists to help design them, and they symbolize growing at our own pace. So, you know, the theme on Thursday night is Life is a Journey, and we want to remember that we all go at our own pace on that journey, and we can all reach out to help and support one another as well.
Well, thank you so much for coming, and,
Wrong for you not to flip them around because there's art on
oh, there's
the
art on the
back.
back too. Oh, you
yes,
gotta get
they're
both sides,
both
you're right,
double-sided.
yes.
Absolutely.
There we are.
Somebody was working hard on those.
I know,
Yeah.
right? They're
That's pretty
beautiful.
neat,
Yeah, the art at your new facility is tremendous.
Thank you. Yeah.
So obviously, this is Mental Health Month,
It is.
and it's part of health. And as people say, if you don't have your health, you really don't have much. And mental health is a critical portion. And we're seeing a lot more need in the community. Like to appreciate, there's Kathy, like to appreciate the county mental health department, as you mentioned, the dozens of nonprofits that Center County government partners with. And we'd also like to thank the community for their generous support of the roughly 300 nonprofits in Center County. But I'll hand over to Commissioner Concepcion for additional comments.
Yeah, so thanks so much for being here and for leading these efforts, and events like JamFest make this issue so much more visible in our community and helps like break down the stigma for people to talk about these issues with their own loved ones in their lives, and also across the community in a much more public way, and bringing attention to the fact that there are resources available, that Jana Marie is one of those resources. County Mental Health is a place that can connect people in need to counseling and therapy and providers for a wide variety of mental health needs. And the more that we bring these issues out into the open, the more people can be aware that there is help available, and ways to reach out, and we want to make sure people know how to do so and that it's easy to do so. And organizations like Jana Marie have been really instrumental in this community, I think, in just bringing these issues into the limelight, which I think is really critical. It seems like in the years since the COVID pandemic, people have been. That really took a real toll on our community and many communities, and I think even, in the years since, it's been a process kind of dealing with some of the fallout from all the changes in society that happened at that time. So although this was an issue clearly before, I think there's been some really heightened needs since then, and that we've all seen, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but thank you for being here and
Yeah.
all you're doing.
And just to highlight one of the resources that is out there, of course, Jana Marie Foundation, and Center Helps and the county, but also there's a 3-digit number that people
Yes.
can call,
Yes.
988, and that is operated in our community by Center Helps, but it works very similar to like 911, so if anybody is having a mental health crisis or just a concern, it can be really helpful to reach out. We were working in a school and we had a student that just wanted somebody to lend that listening ear, but didn't know who to turn to or who they were comfortable with, and ended up using that number, not because they were in crisis or anything, just they wanted an outside person to be able to talk to. And so there's a lot of ways that number can be utilized, and it is a wonderful service that is available nationwide, and it's great that we have a call center right here in our community as well.
One of the best in the state, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
Commissioner Dersom.
Well, I was going to ask you, do you still do the mental health first aid programs?
We do. So we do have an upcoming course. I have to look at my notes for when the date is. On May 28th, we have a youth mental health first aid course coming up for the community that's offered at no cost. And then we have an adult one coming up in June that following week, as well as we do offer QPR suicide prevention training, which is about an hour and a half. And we do 2 free trainings a month for that. And we also offer calm conversations or counseling on access to lethal means, which is another hour and a half or so training. And we do offer 1 no-cost training each month for that as well.
Good.
So lots of ways to learn about mental health, learn about the available resources, and also ways that we can engage in these courageous conversations that aren't always the most comfortable to have.
I know you've been the standard bearer for mental health. I would say all things mental health for how long now? 'Cause I'm-
14 years?
I was gonna go with 15.
Yeah.
You've been at it a while, and you've really done a yeoman's job of bringing the Janet Marie Foundation, into a really amazing place. And, but I do have one question. With the
Yeah.
advent of the snails, do we still have stompers?
We do still have stompers. We actually have 23 Maine currently. Our most recent was just put into Eisenhower.
Okay.
So
Oh,
this
okay.
past month it went in there. So if you stop by for a show at all over at Eisenhower, you'll get to see it. And we have another one in the works.
So you have 24
So-
stompers
Yeah.
in production.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's pretty
We have a whole
amazing.
family.
Yeah.
I've seen them. They're very unique, and you can't really
Yeah.
miss them. And it really is signatory to what your organization does. And we really appreciate all the good things that you brought to the community, and the awareness that and not just awareness, you've actually gone into the area of solutions and problem solving, and that's huge.
Thank you.
Because it's easy to talk about things, but it's harder to fix things, and you've done a great job of trying to fix things. We really appreciate that.
Well, thank you very much. And it takes a team effort. It's all of us working together, the organizations, the agencies, you all, the community that are able to find these solutions and move them forward. It takes action, and for that action to happen, it takes all of us to play a part in it.
So we appreciate that, and thanks for coming in this morning.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Marissa, and thanks for bringing up the 988 line. That's national now, and serving on the 911 Advisory Board Commonwealth-wide. When you do call 988, the overwhelming majority of the time, they're able to de-escalate the situation.
Yes.
And I think statewide, the number of times that emergency responders actually end up being called from a 988 call is a few percentage points, which is tremendous, and again, shows the great job that we're doing here in Center County, but even Commonwealth-wide.
Absolutely.
Any questions from the press? Wants a video of some snails, Gary? She's got some very cute snails here. Okay. Unless there's anything else for this proclamation, I think we can take a motion.
I'll move to adopt Proclamation 21 of 2025, proclaiming May 2025 as Mental Health Awareness Month in Center County.
And I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to adopt proclamation number 21, proclaiming May of 2025 as Mental Health Awareness Month in Center County. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Great. Thank you very much, Marissa, and come on up, we'll present the proclamation.
Thank you.
All right, and JJ's ready to move everything. Yes. How's this? Why don't you hold the proclamation, and Steve, why don't you grab the other snail? Let's go pull this snail.
All right. Figure out which side I like better. I'm gonna take the red.
Yeah, Kathy, come on up.
You can hold the snail. That matches your shirt.
That's why we brought that one.
That's
We
right.
knew it would match.
Well, actually, you have a
Kathy.
choice. You can take that or that.
You didn't get out there.
There you go. How we doing, JJ?
Y'all are good. Smile. Wait, Kathy, can you maybe turn that one around?
Oh,
Just
there
it's
you
the
go.
lights.
Is
the
he too
lights-
shiny?
The lights are.
Yeah, the
hitting
lights.
right.
Open. All right, 3, 2, 1. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You did great.
Thank
Your
you.
snail back.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Melissa.
you.
As always.
Thanks, JJ.
Say hello to Jeff for us.
Will do.
All right, and now another very important proclamation. It's also my favorite number proclamation, proclamation number 22, proclaiming May as Foster Care Awareness Month in Center County. And I believe we have some foster parents here. I should have asked the pronunciation. Is it Kaylin?
Yeah.
Ben and Maggie.
Whoever else would like to.
And whoever else would like to come on up.
We can, you're out. You want us to come up here?
We get better video over on this side.
There we go. How about the star of the show? I'll give you my chair. Come up.
Yeah.
How are you gonna get civics class credit if you don't know you're here?
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for allowing us to be here today. These are Ben and Maggie Lee. They are one of our Center County foster parents, and I have the privilege of being able to work with them for 2 years now, and they're going to share some of their experience first.
Ready?
Ben, I'll get up.
Okay. Okay. I would sit on her lap, but make sure I'm comfortable. Good morning. Thanks so much for having us. I'm Ben. This is Maggie. I'm a pastor at a church in State College, and Maggie's a stay-at-home homeschooling mom. Right, Graham? Excellent. We have 3 biological sons. This is Graham, and then Haddon and Teddy. And we currently have 2 foster children living with us. And we've been in Center County, living in Center County for 10 years. Most people, we have found, tend to think of Center County and maybe State College in particular as a white-collar, affluent university town filled with professors and whiteout games. And it is a wonderful place to live, a great place to raise a family. But we have seen over the years that behind the bright lights of Beaver Stadium are many broken and vulnerable children and families in need of a lot of compassion and care. We have always been interested in foster care, but we started the process a couple of years ago. And during that time, we have had 7 children spend time in our home, including 3 sets of siblings, which is why I no longer have any hair. Fostering siblings has presented some unique challenges and joys for us as a foster family. Despite being a family of 5, there is a reason we have been drawn to foster sibling groups. Center County desperately needs families who are willing to take school-aged children or sibling groups in particular. Our boys weren't quite old enough at the time for us to foster school-age kids, so we began with siblings. And there is no question that fostering siblings is hard, but we have found it to be worth every challenge. So imagine that you're a small child and you've been suddenly ripped away from everything that's familiar and comforting to you. And even if that situation was unsafe or unstable, it's all you have known. And now imagine also being separated from the one person who can understand what you're going through because they are facing it too. And that is the sad reality for many siblings in Center County who are either separated because they cannot find a family willing to take a sibling set, or they are moved outside the county to an even more unfamiliar community. We have seen firsthand the tremendous value in keeping siblings together in foster care. Siblings provide support, comfort, and familiarity for each other in an often scary and unfamiliar time in their lives. This was illustrated to me very clearly with this set of kids we have in our home right now. Our story with our current foster son began about 15 months ago when Kaylin called about a set of siblings, a 4-month-old baby boy and a 14-month-old baby girl. Yes, they are only 10 months apart, and they needed a home. Due to special circumstances, the siblings were not able to be placed together at that time. But about a month ago, I got another call from Kaylin that rocked our world. We tried not to answer her. You know your life's about to change if Kaylin's calling you. The sister, now almost 2.5, needed a home again, and we were the obvious choice. Although I was intimidated about the prospect of having Irish twin toddlers, we said yes. And watching our foster children be together again, the joy and the comfort and the stability that they provide for each other has been a gift to our whole family. And in fact, it was our biological boys who were the catalyst in giving us all this gift. So one of the common fears that people have before becoming foster parents is, how will this affect my biological kids? And this is an honest and legitimate question because foster care does affect them. just not always in the negative way that people assume. When Kaylin called me to ask if we would be willing to take our foster daughter, I hung up and quickly called Ben to see what he thought. And he was out to lunch, and I probably called him over 20 times in an hour to no avail. And my kids quickly realized that something big was going on, and they began asking me questions. And when I informed them that baby boy's sister needed a home, they immediately begged me to take her. I laid out what our life would look like, not with just one toddler, but with two. But they were adamant. If someone in their foster brother's family needed us, we needed to be there for them. So yes, foster care has affected my children. It has given them greater hearts of compassion and service and self-sacrifice and love. And I pray that lesson stays with them their whole life.
Another comment that we hear a lot is that we must be really special people to do something like this, parenting superheroes or something. A lot of folks tend to think that there's no way an ordinary person, ordinary family can do this. And there is no doubt, as the male pattern baldness suggests, foster level brings a level of stress into your life that is pretty unique. It's hard work. But we have found you don't have to be extraordinary. You might have to be a little bit crazy, but you don't have to be a superhero. We're pretty normal people who live in a pretty normal house. We have the same shortcomings as everyone else. Being a foster parent is a lot like what Gandalf said in the Fellowship of the Ring. Some believe it is only great power that can hold evil in check, but that is not what I have found. It is the small, everyday deeds of ordinary folk that keep the darkness at bay, small acts of kindness and love. The broken and hurting families and children in Centre County don't need superheroes. They need small acts of kindness and love from ordinary people. The ordinary folk of Centre County can keep the darkness at bay and bring some light to a little kid's life that may be even a little bit brighter than the lights of Beaver Stadium. Thank you so much for supporting foster care.
Well, thank you, Ben and Maggie, and Kaylin, and Graham, for coming. And obviously, as you mentioned, we have a shortage of foster families, even though I think we're close to an all-time low for the number of children in foster care. As you mentioned, school-age children, even elementary school age, we're desperately seeking families. And we have a lot of support staff. And over
Thank you so much for sharing your family story and how, welcoming foster children into your family has also been a way for your children to learn compassion and hospitality and the importance of making our circle a little bigger. I think one of having been, prior to being a commissioner, was on the school board and State College and was familiar with some, circumstances around families with foster children and some of the support that they need. But moving into this role as a commissioner and getting an opportunity to really understand the really significant needs that we see with some of the families that end up needing the support of children and youth services and foster families. These are some of the most vulnerable residents in our communities, are the foster children who find homes with families like yours. We're often trying to raise awareness about the need for more people to volunteer to be foster families and to know that you don't have to be kind of a parenting expert already to take on this role, that ordinary families and ordinary homes can be a refuge that makes a life-changing difference for children in our community. So thank you so much for coming in, for sharing your story, for opening your home and being that place of refuge and compassion for little people who are, their lives have been turned upside down, but, hopefully we're providing them, these safe and these homes that are, a place where they can heal and that, I think, what often we hear about, families who open their homes and the impact that it has on them is such a positive impact, but it's also, that challenge when children are not, you know that it's temporary, and you have to give your whole heart to this child, and it's a sacrifice knowing that they may, we hope that they're able to be reunited with their own families. But the role that you've played in their lives is just, irreplaceable. So thank you so much for everything you're doing. And I know there's networks of support in our community for foster families. We interact with the Keystone Family organization, and that's one of the groups in our community that provides tremendous amount of support for foster families. So you're not in it alone. There's support from county children and youth services, but also nonprofit organizations that are there to, for anything from, dropping off a casserole to, being a phone call away anytime you need a supportive ear as you're going through this journey. So thank you so much.
I tell people often that this is the dream county to be a foster parent in. It's really great. Yeah,
Good.
really great. The support is awesome.
It's good to hear. Thank you.
Commissioner Dershowitz.
Well, first of all, thank you for coming in. Your story is amazing, and I think it shows the passion that you have and the love for people. But I have to ask, Graham, what's it like welcoming children into your home? Tell us a little bit about how that is.
It's fun. I really like little kids coming to our house. Just really fun to play with them. Yeah, that's it.
So you would highly recommend fostering?
Yeah.
Where's your door? Well, we have so many people in the room with us that make all this happen. This whole process of foster care is a huge endeavor, and it's not just CYS and Fix. It's a network of folks, as Amber mentioned, the Keystone Family Alliance, and so many other folks in the community that all hands on deck to make things happen. And we just really appreciate what you do, what you represent, and sharing your story with so many people out there that maybe think they understand a little bit about the process, but now they know a little bit more. So we really appreciate that. Kayla, thank you for putting all these puzzle pieces together to make things.
Of course, it's been an honor to be in the foster home specialist role, and when we talk about, the children in care, we have 71 children in the care and custody of Center County Children and Youth right now. Of that 71%, we do have 59% of those children in Center County homes. When we look at that percentage of those children, we also have, I believe, 30% of those children are in kinship foster homes. So kinship foster homes, you're looking at a previous relationship. It doesn't have to be a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle. This can be someone, a neighbor, a friend of the family. Any of those people who have had a previous relationship can also be identified as a kinship caregiver. And of those 71 kids, each one of those children have a name, have a story, and have gone through something that we as adults could never understand, unfortunately. And so when we look at that being a child's reality, we then have these wonderful folks who sometimes apparently want to ignore my call, but they answer the phone, and they are here for our children in Center County. And so as they continue to do a service to us, I can't be more grateful for them. But we do also have great supporters of Keystone Family Alliance who support our foster families, who support us as an agency. And everyone can do something. If you can't be a foster parent and you don't feel like you're able to do that, you can help with foster parents. You can be part of a care community. You can deliver a meal. You can deliver something that a child may need. There's always something that the community can do, and I really appreciate all of the support of the community and of the commissioners and everyone who does wrap around us, because it does take a village. And I am glad that Center County has such a great village for these children.
So if you're interested in getting involved with Keystone Family Alliance, what would, do you know, they have a website you can
Yes.
search for Keystone Family Alliance?
It is keyfam.org. And then if you have any questions about fostering and what that entails, you can check out our website at fostercentercounty.com. And then you can also call the agency as well at 814-355-6755.
Great,
That
thank you.
organization started here in Center County and has spread out to literally a couple dozen counties in the state.
Yes, Keystone
Yeah.
Family Alliance started out as
Orphan
Center County Orphan Care Alliance, and they have reached across, I think, to 28 counties
Sounds
in
about
the
right.
state at this point. So, they've continued to branch out to our neighboring counties and help all children here in Pennsylvania.
And if anybody who knows Vince Smith knows that he's a juggernaut and been getting
Yes.
a lot of amazing things done. And not taking no for a very good answer.
Thanks again for coming, appreciate it, and as Maggie says, if you're going to be a foster parent, this is the best place to be one.
It is, yeah.
Well, we appreciate you coming.
Thank
Our
you.
pleasure.
Stay there, don't go. So we'll
Take a motion?
and we'll get a picture.
Okay, I will move to adopt Proclamation 22 of 2025, proclaiming May 2025 as Foster Care Awareness Month in Center County.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Proclamation 22, proclaiming May as Foster Care Awareness Month in Center County. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Any questions from the press? Joe? All right, come on up and.
Well, we want to get this crew in the back.
That's right.
They're shy. They're mighty.
Yeah, absolutely.
I bet you they'll even let you hold the proclamation. You get the center of attention. You're shy. We're in the back.
Do we need to shift this way a tiny bit,
I
Jim?
got this a little crunching.
A little heavy on the Penns Valley side of the map.
Might have to.
Thanks again for coming. Nice to meet you, Grant.
Thanks, Sarah. Did they let you hold the proclamation, Graham? I couldn't see it. Thanks for coming in, buddy. I think you're gonna get an A in civics today.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
All right, you ready to go get your brother?
So now on to the business of the county. Well, of course, the proclamations are very important and a key part of our mission as well. But we have Jonathan here with 3 different items for capital projects.
Yes, good morning. I'm asking for your consideration and approval of a CoStarz contract with Avail Business Solutions, Business Systems, for moving services from the MHID office, Children and Youth, and Veterans Affairs to the Community Services Building. These are the high-capacity secure file systems, and with the warranty, they need to be moved directly from the company. That contract totals $26,408.65. The next item, I'm asking for your consideration and approval of a change order with Nittany Office Equipment for additional cubicles and extra fees due to inflation in the amount of $3,334.58. And the last item is asking for your consideration to purchase 2 hand wands for the sheriff's deputies, and that is from Whitmer Public Safety Group in the amount of $424.
Thanks, Jonathan. Obviously, we need to have professionals move those high-capacity file systems because
Right.
they weigh in the tons.
Correct.
And they need to be very securely anchored and balanced, et cetera. With the change order for the Nittany Office Equipment, I thought we had kind of fixed the price. Is this perhaps some sort of tariff blowback of some kind?
It does include a tariff. It is for the children and youth furniture that was purchased last year. However, the shipping price is what we're paying, or what we are seeing here.
All right. Okay, so we just couldn't get it here quickly enough, and Nittany Office has been absolutely tremendous in storing a lot of this equipment for us.
Correct. Yeah, they didn't have the storage capacity to bring all of the furniture in, so unfortunately, we had to wait, and we see this increase because of that.
Yep, and obviously, if we need to add a couple of wand scanners, that's fine.
Yes.
Commissioner Concepcion, anything?
Yeah, no, these sound like all important purchases, and I appreciate all of your efforts to get the furniture that we needed for this building ahead of tariff impacts on prices, but here we are, so.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
I'm all good, thank you.
All right. We'll take a motion.
I'll move to approve capital items 1 through 3.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the 3 capital items. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Great, thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you.
And now moving on to planning and community development. Leslie's got 3 items for us, I think, all related to the community development block grant program.
That's right. Good morning.
Morning.
So the first items for your consideration are 2 CDBG subrecipient agreements with Gregg Township. One agreement is for federal fiscal year 2022 in the amount of $221,550, and one is for federal fiscal year 2023 in the amount of $69,471, both effective March 7th of this year, which was the clearance date for the environmental review, through March 31st of next year, 2026, which is the grant expenditure deadline. And these agreements are to carry out the Gregg Township Community Center Restoration Project. Just as a refresher, since it's been a while, the scope of work includes installing updated flooring in the gym and stage areas, contingent upon lead and asbestos testing, which the township is currently undertaking. Additionally, a lift will be installed in the stage area to enhance ADA accessibility. Upgrades are also needed for the basketball court backboards and supports, as well as replacing the decayed wall padding in the gym. The outdated windows will also be replaced with energy-efficient shatterproof glass. So this has been a couple years in the making, but environmental review did clear last month, and they're undertaking lead and asbestos testing. The engineer is in final design, and we're reviewing bid documents, so we should be out to bid on that project early next month.
Good.
Great.
Good. Yeah, I know most important part is those windows were leaking.
Yes.
And, sort of threatening the integrity of the entire building. The old Gregg School is very well used and very well loved in Pat's Valley.
Yes, it is. So we're excited to get this project going. Any questions about the agreements? Good on that. Okay. All right. Then the next item for your consideration is the readoption of 2 documents for the county CDBG master file. First is the Minority and Women's Business Enterprise Action Plan. It is the public policy of Center County to promote the opportunity for full participation by minority and women's business enterprises in all HUD-funded programs, including CDBG, ESG, and home grants. This plan includes the CDBG entitlement community of Bellefonte Borough. This plan applies anytime a contract for construction or purchases of services and/or materials is greater than $25,000. The second master file document for your consideration is the Section 3 Action Plan. Section 3 is a provision of HUD that ensures employment and other economic opportunities generated by HUD-funded programs shall, to the greatest extent feasible, be directed to low and very low income persons. This plan outlines how Center County and its subrecipients, contractors, and subcontractors will comply with Section 3 requirements when implementing, again, CDBG, ESG, and home grant programs. This plan applies to housing rehab, housing construction, and other public construction projects that exceed $200,000 in HUD-assisted funding.
Great, thanks, Leslie. Any questions, Commissioner Concepcion?
Sounds okay.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
Nora.
All right, we'll take a motion then.
I'll move to approve the planning and community development items 1, 2, and 3.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the 3 items for planning and community development. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great, thanks, Leslie. And now, Kristen, there you are, as an item for Human Resources.
I'm requesting an approval to a revised start date for the contract with our union and SEIU. We had originally approved it as February 9th. The union has requested we change it back to January 1st so that there is no break in contract. It does not affect retro payments. They're still back to February 9th, but we wanted to, so there's no break in our contracts. The old one ended December 31st. The new one will be effective January 1st.
All right, so we're kind of helping the union out here in terms of the time of the contract.
Correct.
Commissioner Concepcion, any questions?
Sounds okay.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
None.
Okay, I'll move to approve the corrected SEIU Pennsylvania Social Services Union Local 668 contract.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the corrected SEIU Pennsylvania Social Services Union Local 668 contract. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great. Thanks,
Thank you.
Kristen. And there's Dave with 2 items for transportation.
Well, good morning, and I have some support people here with me on this first item from our EMA offices, Jody and Domer. I asked for consideration of approval of the purchase of a 2025 Hallmark enclosed cargo trailer from East End Sales Center. And the trailer will serve the EMA in various capacities. Number one, to store and transport their side-by-side that we purchased for going out into the woods and Netherlands for emergencies that they do encounter. And then they could also set it up as a mobile command unit on site if they're out and about, if they're in the top of the Orviston Mountain or somewhere where there's no buildings or facilities. The total cost of that is $7,200, and EMA has the majority of that money in their coffers of $5,700. And we had some money left over from a recent purchase for facilities that we would ask to could be considered to be put to pay the difference of $1,500. But I don't know if you have any questions for Jody or Domer that relate to this. They can give you explanations of their thoughts and desires going forward, but that's the item that we're looking for approval on for them.
It seems like a great idea, and actually also, I don't buy a lot of trailers, but that seems like a very reasonable price too.
It is, yes, and we bought it big enough to house the unit and give them a little room in there for some storage of items.
Generators, stokes, baskets.
Yeah,
Okay.
a couple things that they may need on site. So, the second item I come before you on is just something that I guess for a long time we just take everything for granted, but I'm asking you to consider an approval of an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, outlining specific payments by the Office of Aging for the transportation services that they fund and help provide here in Center County. As you know, they are full fare payers of 60 to 64-year-old persons that have no medical assistance or other funding. And then they fund the 15% copay for 65 and older seniors that is funded by the lottery once they reach 65 and older. And we've never been able to find anything other than, yes, Mark, you're going to do this, and commissioners, but so PennDOT has asked if we have an MOU, and we figured it's time we start developing these for future generations to know that we have something. And on there, we have our current trip rates, what it costs, 4 trips, and the amount that the agencies fund. So it tells you that. But aging is probably about, it's about 20% of our business in the transportation industry, give or take, that they fund. So it's a vital part of what we do every day here in Center County and providing transportation for people that need that funding. So it gives us the ability to do that. Yeah.
Dave, we very much appreciate what your department does with the transportation for seniors, in this case 60 and up.
Yep.
And for medical trips in an area of over 1,000 square miles.
Oh, yes.
And we appreciate the funding and grants from the state and
Yes.
federal officials
Yep.
that allow us to offer that service at either no cost or very, very low
Yes,
cost.
yes.
Commissioner Concepcion, comments or questions?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to have this in writing so that
Yeah.
we have memorialized what our practices are.
Yeah, and I think we'll come back probably with other agencies we deal with the same type of thing going forward, so that when we're asked about these things, we have it more structured in a sense. I mean, 30 years ago, handshakes meant a lot, but in today's world, it's better to have it in writing where, people can actually see it, but yes.
Yep.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
I'm all good, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I'll move then to approve transportation items 1 and 2.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the 2 items for transportation. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks, Dave and Jody and Domer.
Thank you.
Very much. Go get a trailer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now, for Mental Health Month, we have Kathy here with 3 different items revolving primarily around substance abuse and mental health.
Good morning. The first agenda item I have for today is that it is time to renew our grant application with the Office of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services for our first episode psychosis program. This is the grant that funds a specific program that we do in partnership with Oasis Life Care to support individuals and connect them to treatment and case management support services for individuals who are experiencing their very first experience with mental health and psychosis illness. And so it's important when individuals have that first experience that we get them into services, that they have medication management, that they have therapy. We connect them with peer services, case management, and that we help them to understand what they're experiencing, that we get them the treatment that they need, and we've got fantastic outcomes. We're connecting people with what they need and moving them on with their life. And so things are going really well. The biggest change for the grant this year is that we are expanding at the request of OMSAS and our neighboring counties. We're expanding this to include Huntington, Mifflin, and Juniata counties. So additional individuals will be able to access the resources at Oasis Life Care. We expect that HMJ will have about 5 individuals in the coming year who will also be receiving this service. This is a 100% federal grant. OMSAS is pretty confident that we should not have any issues with this grant continuing for the coming year. If by some chance there were to be issues with funding, Center County would only be responsible for the individuals that we refer to the Oasis program. Individuals who have medical assistance, that would be funding their services, and we would only be responsible for individuals from Center County who do not have Medicaid as their funding. What this also does for us is that it restarts the grant clock. Instead of us being a year 4 or year 5 grantee, we come to being a year 1 grantee. So if there were to be set a limit on the number of years you could apply, we essentially, by adding the additional counties, we start over. So this will allow us additional years to apply for this grant to support individuals who, again, are having their first experience with this type of mental illness. So the grant award will be an additional money with the counties coming on. So we'll be applying for additional funds this year in the amount of $281,565.78 for the time period July 1st, 2025 through June 30th of 2026.
So to summarize for the public, we're joining with 3 other counties now. There's really no harm to Center County because the grant amount is increasing. The work is being done by Oasis Life Care, which is an outside, I believe it's a nonprofit, but anyway, an outside supplier. And we get a little bit of a benefit because now we're back to a year one in the grant, and we're going to tend to have a higher priority.
Exactly.
All right. Commissioner Concepcion, any questions?
Yeah, no questions, but, just from our mental health advisory board meetings, we've talked about how effective this program has been and what, what a, a good kind of fit this has been for Center County to participate in this program, because it means that these individuals are getting that support right away.
Exactly.
So, good to keep it moving on.
Thank you.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
I'm good, thank you. No, appreciate all your good work.
Thank you.
Then I'll move to approve the first episode psychosis plan program, or first episode psychosis program grant renewal application.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the first episode psychosis program grant renewal application. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries. You have two more items for us, Kathy.
Two more items. Both are addendums, and both are for Housing Transitions, Inc. The first is just tying up some loose ends for the accountants. They like us when we wrap up the details. The first is actually for the time period July 1st, 2023 through June 30th of 2024. We owe them $80. And so we are going to do a contract addendum for last year's contract to add that $80. This raises their contract maximum from $10,000 to $10,080. Housing Transitions helps us out by providing emergency housing for individuals with substance use disorders when they stay in the shelter. And so most of that is state money. The county match for this grant, or for this contract, is $465. So again, we're just tying up the last of the loose ends for last fiscal year so that we can pay them the $80 that we owe them. The second contract addendum is for the current fiscal year. They've been able to serve more individuals who happen to have a substance use disorder diagnosis in their shelter. And so we are increasing their contract allocation for this year from $5,000, which is what we initially awarded them, to $10,000, which is closer to what they had last year. And so their new contract total is $10,000. That's mostly state funding, and the county match will be $461 for the period July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
Great, thanks for covering that, Kathy. I'm glad we're both cleaning up the $80 we owed and doubling the support for the current year. Commissioner Concepcion, any questions?
Sounds good.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
Hey, you got to pay that $80.
We have it, got to pay it.
Yeah.
Then I will move to add the MHID, EI, GNA items 2 through 3 to next week's consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to add the last two items for mental health, intellectual disability, early intervention, drug and alcohol to next week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries. We have a very short consent agenda today. Thanks, Kathy.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda then.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve today's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We have 3 letters of support today. I'll cover the first one. We have a letter of support for the Pennsylvania Mixed Use Housing Development Pilot Program. The requested funding will support Phase 2 of the Patton Crossing redevelopment project in Patton Township. This is sort of behind the Aldi on North Atherton. They will be building nearly 400 new residential units on site, and several dozen of those units will be for affordable housing. As mentioned in the Center County 2023 Housing Needs Assessment, there's a desperate shortage of missing middle type units, which is sort of in between a single-family home and a medium-sized apartment complex. So I believe most of these are townhome condo type structures. So huge need for that in the county. Any questions from the other two commissioners?
Sounds good.
Any questions from the press on that? No? All right, we'll take a motion.
I'll move to approve the letter of support for the Patton Crossing redevelopment project grant proposal.
I will second it.
We have a motion, a second, to approve the letter of support for the Patton Crossing redevelopment project. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. And then John has something where our planning director is receiving a plum request to serve on a committee.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. Before you for consideration is a letter nominating Ray Stalinas, our planning director, to fill a vacancy for the County Planning Commission director position on the Act 220 Upper Middle Susquehanna Regional Water Resources Committee. That's a mouthful.
Who knew there was such a thing?
So, to that end, over Ray's more than 30-year career in the area, the applicable area, and the relationships that he's had at various levels throughout the Commonwealth, a representative from DEP had reached out to Ray and asked if he was interested in possibly being nominated for this this vacancy, and Ray is definitely interested. So before you is a letter for your consideration nominating Ray, and this would go to the governor for consideration for the appointment.
Wonderful. Well, Ray, I know you're very qualified. Are you up for the additional work?
Yes.
Okay, all right, just wanted to check.
I think it's once a year.
All right.
Okay.
Working between.
Of course. Lots of PDF documents to read, I'm sure. Any questions, Commissioner Concepcion?
No, just thanks for your willingness to take on the role.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
Hey, if you're up for it, sounds good.
All right. Looks like we could take a motion now.
Then I will move to approve the nomination letter for Ray Stalinas.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the nomination letter for Ray Stalinas. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Thanks, John.
Congratulations.
And now we have Noel from this multiple group, CBICC, CEDACOG, and Ben Franklin Technology Partners for a grant application to Senator Fetterman's fiscal year 26 appropriation for Project Succeed. If you would please explain that to the public.
Yes, well, we've now called it Project Succeed because the Sensors, Ultrasound, and Chromatography for Collaborative Economic Expansion and Development is a bit of a mouthful. So we've just
upstate,
dubbed
right?
it Project Succeed. It's a little catchier and easier to say. And when I have to recite what all goes into it, I have to look at it because I'm
Yes.
sure to miss a word somewhere in there. So you may recall back in October of last year, we asked for a similar letter of support, and that was for a 3-year project focused on the sensors, ultrasound, chromatography sector for an EDA build to scale grant application. We are still waiting on that patiently with our fingers crossed. We were hoping for an early 2025 decision. Clearly, that hasn't happened yet, but we're hopeful that it will, in fact, happen. So this opportunity came up through Senator Fetterman's office for this congressionally directed funding request. Again, even though we haven't heard from the Build to Scale application, we've still been talking with companies in this sector, really trying to figure out what their needs are, where there's gaps, how we can fill that, and also pretty much take this ecosystem of companies in this sector, which we've identified, there's about 60 of them or so, primarily in the Center County area. It's quite an umbrella. There's a lot of different verticals that go into this ecosystem, so it's been pretty interesting. But we've really been collecting a lot of data from the companies so we can really grab a hold of this ecosystem and enhance the collaboration amongst companies of all sizes, big ones and, literally guy working out of his garage, to, commercialization of new product and technology, and then also addressing the workforce side of things as well. So it's a rather large project, but this Fetterman request, we're basically taking that first year scope of work and applying for that through his appropriation. So we're hopeful that at the conclusion of this project over 3 years, that we'd be looking at creating 200 high-paying jobs and 15 new companies as a result of Project Succeed. So I am requesting your support once again on behalf of the Project Succeed team, being Ben Franklin Technology Partners, the CBICC, and also CEDACOG as well. Any questions?
Well, that's fabulous, Noel. Want to mention you're with CEDACOG, specifically the export group.
Yes.
And you help companies throughout central Pennsylvania export tens of millions of dollars
Yes.
of product overseas every year. But especially right now with the potential of the closure for SCI Rockview and the Quahana Boot Camp involving almost 900 jobs, the possibility of 200 new high-paying jobs in or near the county is very exciting. And I know in areas like sensors, we have KCF Technologies and a number of other companies. In ultrasound, I forget what they're called now, but they used to be Sound Technologies
Yes.
on Science Park. Broad variety of applications for ultrasonics in both industry and medical. And then with chromatography,
Milipori Sigma, right?
yeah,
Yep.
wherever Dad used to work.
For decades, yeah.
For decades, a lot of different companies in the county for that. I believe we're one of the densest concentrations on the planet for those type of companies.
It's pretty incredible. Like actually the CBICC's work with their economic development strategy really uncovered a lot of incredible numbers. And
Yeah.
in fact, their consultants were even like, you need to go after this sector. These figures are just unheard of. So as I said, we've been meeting with companies, talking about their needs, and in the process also developing almost like a bit of a genealogy of this sector.
Yes.
And we've joked that we need to create this family tree because there's been so many ownership changes, mergers, so it's kind of following the bouncing ball throughout this sector, which has been really interesting. And we're shooting for an early June, sort of a more formal kickoff of this Project Succeed. We had one back in December, I believe, and Commissioner Higgins, you were at that. So it was sort of a soft launch of this, but it'll be interesting to get a handful of companies around the table really to be able to brainstorm together to figure out where they'd like to see this go in a more formal fashion.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Commissioner Concepcion, any comments?
No, it's great to hear. Just, this is, I think, part of the strategic plan for Center County is really zeroing in on these kinds of high-tech businesses that have a real potential for growth here. So thanks for your work on this.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
I just hope you're successful. I mean, if we're the hub for chromatography and so many other things, I think we need to go after it and see what we can do to expand our. If you have a monopoly, you might as well have a bigger monopoly.
Well, and with the name of Project Succeed, I don't think we can really do anything beyond be successful.
right.
So,
Exactly.
no pressure on
No
the
pressure.
team.
Well, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Any questions from the press on this one? No? All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll move to approve the grant application for Project Succeed.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the grant application for Project Succeed. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great. Thanks, Noel. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Moving on to the check run. Commissioner Concepcion.
Yeah, so the check that I'd like to recognize today in the check run is to Calvary Kid Care. This is for foster children's child care. Earlier in the meeting, we recognized one of our foster families that is providing a home for some Center County children. And I think it's worth noting that if you're willing to be a foster family in Center County, the County Children and Youth Services will cover child care for foster children so that you're able to continue with your day job. So with that, I would move to approve the check run dated April 24th.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the check run dated April 24th. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries. John, do we have an administrator's report?
Nothing to report at this time.
Moving on to voter registration report, we do have a primary election coming up soon.
May 20th is the date for the primary election, and the voter registration deadline is coming up. I should know that off the top of my head, but I don't. But now is a good time to get registered to vote or if you need to change your party affiliation or your address or anything in the voting system between now and the May 20th primary, now is a good time to get that taken care of. And you can do that online at votepa.gov. Today on our voter report, we have 101,617 total voters on the report. That is up 8 from the last report. Of those, 41,264 are Democratic, 160 Green Party, 558 Libertarian, 15,553 with no affiliation, and 42,061 Republican registered voters. All of the other minor parties comprise 2,021 registered voters to come to that number of 101,617. The precinct of the week that we're going to recognize this week is Precinct 3, Bellefonte South. There are 715 registered voters in Precinct 3, and they had a voter turnout of 70% at the November election. They vote at Lambert Hall at 303 Forge Road in Bellefonte, and we'd like to thank Lambert Hall for the use of that space for elections. And that is our voter report.
Great, thank you, Commissioner Concepcion. Any executive sessions to report or hold, John?
No executive sessions to report or hold.
All right. Moving on to the public meeting schedule, this Thursday, May 1st, we have a combined salary board and board of commissioners meeting at 10. On Tuesday, the 6th, we have a board of commissioners meeting at 10. And on Thursday, the 8th, we have retirement board at 1 and a board of elections meeting to help prepare for the upcoming primary at 3 o'clock. Do we have any questions from the press?
You mentioned the office furniture purchase and the impact of tariffs. Have there been any other recent purchases by the county where the tariff issue has been an issue?
I think this is the first one that I'm aware of, but obviously a lot of those tariffs are only just coming into play here. I believe a lot of them hit May 1st.
Public hearings are over. I imagine public comment period is closed on Rockview and Quahana. Have you heard anything else from DOC on that issue?
I don't believe we have. No, don't believe we have. We're still in opposition to closing both facilities. I believe, based on the second public listening session, that Quahana Boot Camp has the lowest recidivism rate for any correctional facility in the state. That's a very good thing. And I believe Rockview is the second lowest recidivism rate in the Commonwealth. So it's kind of surprising that you're closing your two most successful facilities.
Is the prison personnel, are they the only unionized personnel for the county?
Yes, Center County is a little out of the ordinary for that. Yeah.
That's all I have, thank you.
All right. Any questions? No? All right. Unless there's anything else for the good of the order, I think we need to head to the Envirothon.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn at 11:08. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We're adjourned.